Okay, looks like we are live now. Hi Pooja. Hi Royal Lecter. So today what we are going to do is we are going to talk to Jemimah Jonah. She is the author of Dark Retributions, and let's see if she's online. Okay. Hi Jemimah.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good. So joining us from Chennai.
Can't hear you?
So are you joining us from Chennai?
Yeah, I am. I am. Thankfully, I reached home on Wednesday. So,
Oh, great. So where in Chennai do you live?
I live in Vadapayani. So,
Okay. Nice. Okay.
I'm not
I'm
able to
not
hear
able
you.
to hear you. Reconnect. No. You hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Ah, okay. Great. So we already have a couple of people who've joined. So let me introduce Jemimah. She is the author of Dark Retributions, which has very quickly become one of my favorite reads of 2021 so far.
Thank you.
Uh, so I'll be honest, I had not read a paranormal thriller before this. Uh, but
Okay.
when I read your book, I loved it. It's amazing. What I what I loved the most was how gripping the story was. Like normally, what happens when I start a book, the first few pages are difficult because you're just thrown into a world and you're trying to anchor yourself, trying to understand what's happening, and then as the book progresses, yeah, the interest develops, and then that's when you get hooked. But that was not what happened in your book. In your book, I was hooked from the prologue itself.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah. So let's start off. When did you decide to start, writing for a living?
Okay, so I have always been writing something or the other, mostly poems
Hmm.
or fan fictions about Power Rangers because apparently that was very famous back then.
Mighty Morphin.
And
It's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin was my favorite, and
Yes.
Dino Thunder was my go-to again.
Hmm.
So yeah, those were the good days. But after college, I sort of realized that what I was doing was not my cup of tea.
Hmm.
And I was just trying to find me in everything that I do at that point, and I realized way too late that I wanted to write for a living. I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about the final semester of my BTech, and I'm telling my mom, "Hey, mom, I want to write for a living," and she's like, "Don't you think it's a little too late? I mean, I've literally spent lakhs for you to do this." Because she did tell me, if you want, because I was so interested in Shakespeare and all of these things right
Uh-huh.
from childhood. She said you could take English literature, and me being me, the dramatic queen, went, "No, I'm taking genetic engineering. It's what I want to do." I even picked out the college, and I totally regret doing that. That's a whole different story. But yeah, in my fourth semester of, I'm sorry, in the eighth semester of my engineering, I finally decided to write engineering.
Sounds good. You know what? I think any time you decide to write is a good time to start because there's no age bar as such. You know, there are really
Yeah, but
people like 10
at
years
that
older than me as
point,
well.
I just felt so intimidated because you see many writers coming up and they're like, "Hey, I did my degree in IIM. I'm an IIT graduate, and I was an SRM graduate, dude. Like, what do you expect?" I was intimidated like crazy. So at first I thought, unless and until I have a certain degree in creative writing or I have a certain degree in English, I was not qualified to write a book. Then I ended up surprising myself. So
No, I think your book was wonderful, and I think one thing that might, I'll just throw it out there, is that when you have a degree or an education in writing, which it's wonderful. I mean, it definitely helps, but it also gives you a structure. And
true.
when you write outside of that structure, it brings in a little bit of freshness to your content.
Agreed.
So I think it's a great thing that you started writing because I have become one of your fans.
Oh,
Uh,
thank
I'm actually waiting for the next book to come out.
I'm excited for
So,
it. Too.
so I know you've already alluded a little bit to this. Can you tell us a little more about your writing journey so far?
Okay, so uh, I feel like I'm gonna embarrass myself talking about the early days of my writing journey, but I guess that's part of it. So I was back in school. We had
Hmm.
geography class, and I was completely bored because I think geography was one of the subjects that I hated the most. But I loved the teacher. So to woo her, I sort of wrote small poems, with her name or something or the other. And she said, "You know what? You should really consider developing this talent of yours that you have." And back then, I did not understand what she exactly meant. So
Hmm.
I think right from my eighth grade, I started writing fan fictions. And surprisingly, they transformed from Power Rangers to Marvel Universe to DC to Call of Duty and ended
Call
up
of
with,
Duty.
yeah, I used to write like these small missions,
Uh-huh.
imagining that I was part of the team, and I don't know why, but I always ended up dying as a hero. So that's a different fan fiction. So I think at one point I started writing these stories on Wattpad, but
Mhm, mhm.
predominantly they were romance because most of my readers were romance readers, and
Right.
the reception there was good. Like people really liked what I wrote, and it was a fun time. But then I was not very into romance because I don't read
Mhm.
romance. You see my bookshelf, I don't think it's spot one romantic book over there. It's all epic and historical
I see
fictions.
George R.R. Martin over there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I can recognize from this far.
Lord of the Rings, right there. Shakespeare.
Okay.
This baby is Shakespeare, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter stuff, and all my fantasy books are up there. I can't wait.
Wow, I want that shelf.
Well, you're welcome to come borrow anytime. So, it was not my cup of tea, and I wanted to
Mhm.
experiment, but I was not confident writing my own characters at that point. So I had to base my characters off of people that I actually admired in real life.
Okay,
And
right.
that's how Jonathan Steele and Victoria Brooks and David Paramour was born eventually. So
I really like the character of Victoria Brooks and David as well. I was pretty saddened to see how David's character, progressed.
I know I was not very nice to David.
But I think it was pretty, the way you ended it was pretty fair to David, if you ask me.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, a part of my friends still hate me for that. They still have forgiven me for that. So
No, no. Okay, so I have been trying my level best to control myself, but I can't do that anymore. Can you? If you have any of your fan fiction stories right now, can you read it to us?
Okay, now that's good. Okay, you gotta give me a minute so I can search.
Preferably a Call of Duty or a Power Rangers.
I don't think I'd have Power Rangers or Call of Duty because that was in 8th or 9th standard, but I'm still gonna
Ah,
check my
okay.
laptop and see if I have anything there. Or I
Okay.
could write just one for you and send it over, in an email so nobody else would read it and I wouldn't be embarrassed. But
I
okay.
don't think your work is embarrassing at all. I promise to share it with everyone.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, just one question. Does the Call of Duty story have Captain Price in it?
I think they did. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure of the plot that I wrote because most of it was like very long ago. But the one thing
Mm-hmm.
I vividly remember is that my character had a romantic link to each and every member of the team, and each and every member of the team was behind my character, and my character ended up dying the hero every time. And yeah, my character was like the female sniper. So we had at least one character going, oh yeah, females can't shoot. And then here I was being bad at
Uh,
taking my sniper off. So that was there.
I'm a big Call of Duty fan.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that just caught me attention because I'm a gamer as well. And
That's why I got so curious. I like Call of Duty. Come on, please, Captain Price.
I'll send it to you if I ever find one. I am a huge, huge gamer. Um,
Uh-huh.
I always have been, playing Call of Duty, Age of Empires. What was the other one? Oh my god, I forgot. Oh, right now I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima and
Uh-huh.
GTA 5. So.
Oh, okay. So right now I have actually transitioned to mobile gaming because my PC is very old.
Right.
So,
I
I
relate to
started
that
playing Call
so
of Duty
much.
Mobile now.
I relate to that so much because back then I used to game in my PC, but then
Uh-huh.
once my cat died, I was so sad, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad decided to distract me, so he got me a PS4, and now he
Oh,
regrets all his life.
I am jealous. I don't have a cat to kill.
Oh, oh my god! So I found a couple of fan fictions, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately they are romance, and my poetry collection is here, so they're pretty lame.
I'd love to listen to a poem of yours, if that's okay with you.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let you choose a creepy one, based on my life one, or a random piece.
Hmm. Random, number three.
Okay.
Or one based on your life, that would also be very interesting, actually.
Okay. Choosing, because I'm just gonna go with Castle of Glass. So,
Mm-hmm.
a castle of glass is where I live. A castle so huge, its possession I can't outlive. A castle of glass is what people see, filled with their dreams and wealth like the sea. They throw a stone to get inside, and by that stone my freedom I buy. A castle of glass is never what it seems. A castle of glass all but mutes my screams. A castle of glass like a palace would seem to these very eyes that with envy gleam. A castle of glass like a cage may seem to that special bird with a broken dream. A castle of glass envy with a castle of glass even precious gems be not the freedom that the soul wants. A castle of glass can never be whole, not in the years to come or forever, I'm sure.
That sounds nice.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll have to read the poem once more to get all the,
I'll send it to you. I'll send
emotions out of it. Yeah, I would love that. Okay, so I know I digressed and I'm sorry for that.
No problem.
So let's come back. Where did you get the idea for the story of Dark Retributions?
Okay, so I'm just trying to put it in the most sensible way. So I'm a person who loves Sherlock,
Uh-huh.
and I've always been a fan of any crime mystery that has an excellent detective. But as days
Right.
went on, like as I grow up and as I'm watching more and more series or reading more and more books, I realized that we did not have any female detectives who were cocky, smart, and literally imitating Sherlock Holmes. Not that much, at least. At least not in the Indian market, as far as I know. So,
Even I can't think of one right now.
so while writing, I was thinking, how can I make this different? How can I make it interesting? Because most of the writers who try to create a female OC tend to be very feminist in the way that they create them equal to a male character, which is what I have done. But there's nothing special in her. I mean, yes, she feels real, but what is that one special thing that's going to drive the reader to I'm sorry, to drive the reader to read the story or connect to her journey? And I
Uh-huh.
thought, it would be really cool if we have a detective.
Okay, I think the video got hung. Okay, looks like we're facing some issues with network. Let's see if Jemimah is able to join us back. Okay, okay, we are back. I don't know
Yeah,
how we got disconnected,
I
but
know that was super weird.
That was super weird.
I was a little
I was
confused,
a little
but
confused. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm hearing echoes on my side.
Oh, now is it better?
Yeah, now it's a lot better.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened, some technical issue. That live also got completely closed. I don't know what happened.
Instagram
Uh,
made us talking
Instagram.
about so
Okay, anyways, what were we discussing? How did you come
uh,
up with the idea for the story? Yeah.
I'm just gonna continue probably from the beginning. So once I had the idea for female detective, I was trying to find a
Mhm.
way of making it unique. And that's when I
Okay.
decided, okay, you know what? I want her to see ghosts because I'm a big horror fan, even though I'm scared of zombies. Um, so I'm terribly, terribly scared of zombies and frogs.
Ah,
So
frogs. Okay.
yeah. Hi, Sandy. Yeah. Um, so I was just trying to figure out a way to make it even more personal, and then I decided, she's going to feel a lot of pain if we make her
Mhm.
see the ghost of her dead brother. So I threw that in, and I'm like, okay, now I really have to make her life horrible. So what are the ways I can do it? And I think that's how most of Victoria's character was formed. The way she's alcoholic,
Mhm.
she's trying to deal with grief, and the way she's detached with her family, and everything was born from that. So yeah.
That's very interesting. You were actually trying to make your character suffer.
Yeah, because Dan Brown did once say that, unless and until you make your character suffer or go through certain things, they are not going to learn the story that you're trying to tell, and the readers are not going to stick with you till. So, sorry, Victoria. David.
I think you have a point there, that's how the character development progresses. And that's how I think on some level, that's probably how I would relate to them as well. If they're totally perfect, I'll be like, oh my god.
Yeah, we are tired of perfect characters in these modern days and eras, you know.
Definitely. Definitely. I can't take perfect characters anymore either. So, how did you come up with these characters? I know you said you got some ideas from people in real life. How did you decide
So,
the names and everything?
before that, I think someone's asked me a question. Do you like the books written by Agatha Christie? Oh, yes, I
Agatha.
do. I have a huge collection up there, but I'm too short and the bookshelf is too big, so I'm not able to reach up and show you guys. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
I need that bookshelf.
Oh, you're welcome to come and take it anytime. Actually, my dad because I got my book published, but before that, I used to stack my books all up, and it became a very
Uh-huh.
dangerous routine. So,
Oh,
yeah. Um, to answer your
nice.
question, Victoria was predominantly based on me and something that I was going through at that point in life because a lot of people around me started dying, like my uncles, my pets, and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
And all of it happened in a way that I couldn't relate to it. Like, I did not have time to make peace or understand what was going on. So I wanted to write about that, and I wanted to write about how it feels to be trapped inside your own mind. Like, you're not supposed to think about that. You're supposed to do a certain job, but you're not able to because at the end of the day, you still go back and you still think, I should have done this. If I had done this certain thing, that person would have survived. Or if I had done this, we would have been peaceful in the end.
Correct.
So most of Victoria and her insecurities are me, except for the alcoholism and extreme dumbness. um, Jonathan Steele was actually inspired by Tom Hiddleston because I'm a big Loki fan. Um, and Jeremy Brooks was actually my cat. So
Is it?
yeah, he is actually. Him dying and coming back, the entire story is actually about my cat who actually passed away when I was not in town. So
Mm-hmm.
I constantly blamed her, like, you should have stayed. You ate something that you weren't supposed to, and maybe that's why you died. So I just imagine that as a moment of closure where my cat comes and says, you know what? I didn't die like that woman. You shouldn't jump to conclusions. So that's how Jeremy was born. And
Oh, okay.
David was just this character who was born just, as I was writing the story. There's no backstory of what inspired David, but most of him is, just there. Like, I just had to be there, and I did not think too much into the character development because he formed himself. Maybe I think that's a better way of saying.
Now every time I think about Jonathan Steele, I'm going to think Loki coming into picture. Okay. So what was the hardest part for you to write in this book?
There were a couple of hardest parts. So definitely David's part, because I kept
Mm-hmm.
beating myself up. I had two endings. One was a happy ending. The other is the ending that you know. And I was very hesitant to replace the happy ending with this one because I
Uh-huh.
wanted David to, you know, I cannot say that. Anyway, but in the end, I just decided that it was better for Victoria and the rest of the books, that we have a fair ending for David and we have a good closure moment because that's when Victoria grows as a character rather than her being stuck with Jeremy all her life. And
Mm-hmm.
she leans on David all the time, and it's time for her to be independent. So I think that was why I made that choice. The second one is the scene with Harley and writing Harley's past because I was trying to figure out a lot of things about what a child in that era could go through, and I sucked
Uh-huh.
at it. Purely because I sucked at it.
Okay. I think it was good you gave David some level of redemption at the end because it was not entirely his fault what was happening.
Yeah, I know. I mean, after I finished the book, I was, texting my friend saying, dude, I just did this to this character and I'm feeling so bad. I just hope he doesn't haunt me. I highly doubt it, bro. It's not just.
Okay, fair enough. So, did you go through a writer's block while writing this story?
Yeah, I did. A massive block. A block would be an understatement.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's right where Jeremy and Jonathan sneak into the house. I did not know, like, I had the ending written, I had that part written, but I did not have the bridge in between.
Uh-huh.
So it took me a couple of years to actually come back, revisit, and figure out what the next chapter and how I'm going to bridge the ending to that particular scene is going to be. So, yeah.
Fair enough. So, how did you overcome that block?
I don't know. I mean, I was just sitting, in this lockdown because I had given myself a 1 year break from Dark Retributions. I decided
Hmm.
not to go back to it, just to clear my mind, and eventually forgot about it. So when the whole lockdown happened due to the epidemic, I ran out of things to do because Amazon was not delivering paint products, and I was
Oh
not
yeah.
able to paint sketch. Everything was closed. So why not just sit and write? And the moment I sat down, it just came to me like Eureka, and I just punched the air and I started writing. So it worked.
So you had a eureka moment.
Yeah.
So okay. Now coming to your sketches, you showed one sketch to me yesterday, and I would love to see it again.
Again.
And to also know who it is in that sketch. I did not recognize that person.
Okay, so it is. This is gonna sound cliche, but a Korean singer that I like. My friend introduced it to me, and he's her favorite. So I decided to do this for her initially, but I think I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
keep it now. This is the sketch that I made.
It's really nice. I like all the shades and the shadow, especially the shadow over here.
Oh, thank you. I was surprised that it came out well because it had been so long since I sketched anything, physically. Because I am into digital art these days, and I surprised myself. Thank you. You're being exceptionally sweet. I'm gonna cry.
No, so here's the thing. I'm all thumbs when it comes to art, right? So whenever I see something that I like, I make sure I, appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
I suck at drawing so much that once I tried to make a cow, ended up making a dog, and I still don't know how I did that.
Oh no, that requires special talent. That requires a special talent.
Okay. So, who is your favorite character in the book?
David Paramore, without second thoughts.
Because of all the things you did to him, or just because?
Okay, now I'm feeling guilty. But
I'm sorry for saying that.
it's fine. It's fine. Partially because of the things I did to him, but also because he was. I think he helped me finish the story. Because every time
Mhm.
I felt myself pondering whether I was doing the right decisions, whether the characters were making the right choice, I always put David as my center point. Like, if this character
Mhm.
reacted this way, what would David do? So the opposite of David was every character's reaction because he was technically the same one in the book.
Uh-huh. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
I like the character who came towards the end. I forgot her name. Jonathan
Shamo?
Steele's fiance. Yes.
That Shamo is actually based on a very good friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that character. I don't know why. I mean, she was there for a very brief period in the entire book, but I like that character.
Thank you. Fun fact though, Zorro is actually based on my friend's dog.
Oh, so you
The
have
dog.
characters based on cats and dogs.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we get so attached to it and we just want to make them, immortal in some way, at least to you. So,
Yeah, yeah.
What better way
definitely.
than to pen them down as characters in a book?
Fair enough. So all the loyalty part from Zorro, is that what you're talking about? Right?
I don't know because I wasn't quite with her during that time, but she did love the dog, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to create a memento, just a memorable
Mm-hmm.
moment. So I created Zorro to be an Asian because the dog was Asian, and I named him Zorro because the dog's name was Zorro. And he's pretty much closer to Shamu because my friend's name is Shamika, but I call her Shamu. So
Oh, so all your
yeah,
friends are a part of the book then.
yeah, definitely. I think that's the same case with book two as well.
Oh, is it? I think it's nice, you're getting inspiration around you for the characters that you build, and that sets it apart. And also, it might help you when you face writer's block, or I don't know what to do with this character anymore. But you
Yeah.
have some kind of background. Okay, what would my friend do?
Yeah, exactly. And it helps me make the characters more realistic because
Uh-huh.
I don't know, for some reason, I don't relate to characters who are very perfect or who seem very far fetched. I want characters to be very, very relatable, and I'm not sure if that makes sense. But
I think that makes perfect sense. Even I like a little bit of realism in the books I read, or the series or the movies that I watch. I like the realistic endings. So that is probably partly one reason why I like your characters as well.
yay, I'm happy.
So like yeah, I mean perfect happy endings are not my cup of tea.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, before I move to the last few questions that I have, I'll just open the floor once for everybody to ask their questions.
Sure.
I do have a couple of questions already. So, question from VPuja31. Could you read out a part of the book that's your favorite part?
Oh, okay. Give me a second. I need to get my book.
Sure, sure.
I must probably be the only author who does not know where her book is placed. Uh,
I would imagine you'll have a lot of author copies lying around.
I do actually, but my dad gave them away to some of his friends, and I'm yet
Hmm.
to send some copies to the giveaway winners. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the page.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So, in the meantime, for all those who've recently joined us, we are having a conversation with Jemimah Jonah. She's the author of Dark Retributions. It's a paranormal thriller. I love that book. It's so far my favorite book of 2021. I know 2021 has just begun, but so far it's my favorite. I really enjoyed that book.
Thank you. Okay, so this is from chapter 11. This was, my favorite because I actually wrote it in my diary when I was
Hmm.
thinking about my granddad and how he passed and how I connect to him in a musical way. I think you should
Hmm.
know this, but I'm still gonna read this. Um, the requirements death of everything that weighs me down placed like a symphony. A surreal orchestration of everything that defined who I was not, worked harmoniously, swaying my thoughts towards a deep, dark melody. It was one that would echo even after its death, tainting the purity of a new beginning with some sort of melancholy. But right now, all I see is darkness. All I hear is silence. When it begins, it's like raindrops pattering on the keys of the piano, slowly and softly, like a killer waiting in the dark. The show has started, but the curtains have not been raised. The keys align with the chimes of the ticking clock, the same keys resounding again and again and again. The repetition would make you wish for the silence that existed a moment ago. The discomfort starts setting in the heart, making it beat audible between the keys. Then slowly, like a well-welcomed warm breeze from a freezing winter, the sounds of violin flow in. I have a feeling that something is about to happen. The mere thudding of my heart against my ribcage page is enough for me to feel my anticipation knocking on my bones like a rude stranger who wants to be let in. And then gracefully, the curtain rises. As the bow plays upon the rosin layered strings of the violin, I feel my heart tug. It's almost as if the violin is made of my nerves. My heart stops its knocking, but it is replaced by a sudden heavy space that I'm forced to carry. I breathe in and out heavily, hoping to expel whatever it is that is weighing me down. Just as I swallow, the drummer hits the seasoned leather on the drums. It gongs in time as my throat wobbles up and down. Fear begins to settle in a form that I just can't place a finger on.
Really nice. My favorite part of the book was when she's at home and the first ghost visits her.
Ah, the TikTok ghost.
TikTok, yes. So that was my favorite part, and that line, "Murder, murder everywhere, run away unless
Yeah,
you're
you
there."
wouldn't believe how that came up. So I was, talking with my dad about how songs these days have no meaning. And then my
Mhm.
dad was like, you should write something. And I was like, what? Murder, murder, everywhere, run away unless you're there. And then I'm like, yeah, that is good. I should probably go insert it in my book.
Yeah, I think that sort of became an anchor for your entire story, at least because
Yeah,
that's what I
it did.
feel, at
In
least.
time, it did.
Yeah, I love that, those two lines. I really liked it.
Thank you.
They rhymed.
They rhymed.
Okay, the next question I have is from Bluffmaster Tanuj. Any chance your fan fictions are available for us to read? Yeah, that's my question too.
Well, not all of them, but I guess I still have a couple left on Wattpad. You can still find me there. I think at that dreamy writer. At that dreamy writer.
So, oh, you're there in Wattpad then.
I am. I'm not actively there, but I am there. I'm still trying to win over the Wattpad audience because they are the most difficult people to deal with.
Oh, to be honest, I don't have a lot of exposure to Wattpad. But if you have your fan fictions over there, especially Power Rangers or Call of Duty, I am going to read it.
I'll
Even Marvel,
probably
I'm fine
find
with Marvel
Power
too.
Rangers and Call of Duty and upload them online just for you to read them.
I would love
Um,
to.
the reason I say Wattpad audience is tough is because they are seasoned, like they know what they want. They want a romance novel where you're the good girl,
Uh-huh.
there's a bad guy, you guys fall in love, and there's some erotica involved. But they refuse to acknowledge any other genre that is out there, and that makes it all the more hard for people like me who definitely steers
Correct.
clear from romance.
Fair enough. I understand. In fact, I believe most of the stories on Wattpad tend to be in that genre,
Yeah.
romance and erotica and everything.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I'm not there
On
because
Wattpad,
I
yeah.
don't read
I
a
hear
lot
you.
of. I do sometimes, but not much.
My friend is like that. The moment I told him I write, he was like, "Oh, where can I read your work?" And initially, I had Dark Retributions on Wattpad.
Mhm.
So I told him on Wattpad, and he goes, "I didn't know you write romance. Are you serious?" I'm like, "It's not romance. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Didn't you know Wattpad is only for romance stuff? Like nobody's gonna read your paranormal stuff." And he was right.
Uh, well, Wattpad has its own audience, so
Yeah.
okay. So let me see if I have any more questions. Okay, so one more question that I've got in the comments is why Dark Retributions? I think it's on the title. Why did you decide to name it Dark Retributions?
Okay, that is a good question. So initially, the name of the book was Victoria, not Victoria Books. It was actually The Deal because that's kind of made sense at that point. But then it was again too cliche, like the deal
Uh-huh.
with the devil, and it gave away too much. So I decided on Victoria Books. But the thing about this book is that it doesn't exactly deal with one person. It has multiple heroes, and calling it Victoria Books didn't just sit right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was trying to figure out a good name. So I knew I wanted dark in it. But what would be the second, word that I'm going to join with dark? So I didn't know. And then I asked my developmental writer, like, what do you think would sit well? So we were playing around with words, and I ended up with the word dark revenge. And she was like, come on, there must be a better word. You're an effing writer. You can definitely do better than that. And I'm like, I don't know. You know what? Hold the line. I'm going to go ask Google. So I Googled other words for revenge, and retributions came up. I'm like, okay, dark retributions. That does sound good. So I took a while to decide on a name, though, because it didn't sit well with me at first. But eventually, I don't think I can think of any other name for the book right now because it just fits like a puzzle piece.
I think it does. And I understand, naming your book is in some way far more difficult than writing the story itself.
Yeah, I know.
Because I've discussed a couple of authors. I keep talking to a lot of people. Spoke to one author who was struggling with the same problem, trying to come up with a good title. And
Yeah.
I was brainstorming with him for like almost 5 days or a week before we could finally come up with a decent name. Every suggestion either he would shoot down or I would shoot down. I'm like, nah. So fine.
I know that it's too hard because it's too much pressure because it feels like
Mhm.
the fate of the book is in your hands. And because
Aha.
normally when people buy a book, they're going to look at the cover and they're going to look at the name. Now that I know I've got the cover,
True.
I do not know what to name the book. I mean, I don't think many people would have picked this up if the title was Victoria Brooks because it is not as attractive as Dark Retributions.
Plus, if I would have Google searched Victoria Brooks, I'm sure some real person might have popped out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And that might be even more confusing.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let's see if I have any more questions. Okay, I can see just one more question, and that is how do you balance between your work life and your author life? Okay, good question, I believe.
That's a good question. But here's the answer. I technically don't. My life is in ruins because at first it was easy when I started working from home because they gave us only 8 hours of work. So I'd spend
Mhm.
8 hours of work and the other 8 hours I'd put it into writing. And I used to sleep, say, 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day till I finished the book. And once I was done with that, I took a small break, and I think that was the worst mistake of my life because I became too lazy. And at the
Mhm.
same time, my 9 to 5 job, people decided it would be really fun to load us up with work. So
True.
I'm working 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day, and then again I sit and write and I lose sleep and I look like a zombie, which I'm terribly scared of. So I'm really not balancing it well.
Okay, well, you're definitely not looking like a zombie right now, so I guess things have become better.
For now, at least. Probably because of the filter I'm using, or else I'd definitely be a zombie.
Uh, no problem. I think as long as you're not looking like one right now, it's good. I look like a zombie when I take off my specs, so that's why I always wear them.
I actually have my specs here. The reason that I was squinting so much when I was looking at the laptop was because I can't see.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's okay. Okay, so I guess these are all the questions that I have from the audience for now. If you guys have any more questions, just keep posting them. I'll ask them as and when they come. In the meantime, my last question would be: there are a lot of authors or budding authors, I would call them, who are still working on their debut novels. Some are in the editing phase. Some are in, you know, deciding the title. Some are still writing the book. So, what advice would you give them?
Two pieces of advice. The first part is don't listen to any crap that people say.
Hmm.
Because, when you're writing a book, a relative, I'm not naming who the relative is in my life, but a relative can come up to you and say, what are you going to earn from writing a book? It's not a real job. You are going to suck at it. There are millions of writers out there. You're not going to make a name out of it. You're wasting your time writing a book. Like, who writes books these days? So, what you can do is take all these advices, roll it back and flip your middle finger at them if they're younger than you. If they're older than you, you can just let it go through the other ear. um, the second piece of advice would be to keep writing, because you never know unless you try. Like, writing is a field where you develop yourself every time you write. And if you stop in between and say, you know what, I'm not good, I think every writer has been at that stage of life, like even Dan Brown or Shakespeare himself at one point would be like, you know what, I cannot write for the sake of me. But the reason why they succeeded is that they went back at it again and they kept writing. They did not give up. So don't give up. If this zombie
I
girl
think don't give up is a perfect advice.
oh, thank you.
I liked your first bit of advice actually because that sort of hit a chord. When I was starting this, book reading thing and reviewing thing, I used to read books earlier as well, and then I was like, somebody was like, "Why are you wasting your time, with all this Instagram and everything? People don't
Right.
read books these days. They watch Netflix series and everything." And I'm glad I did not listen to them because I found such a big community of readers, like-minded people over here, and I really have
I
a
have
good
found
time
you
talking to
a book review if you had given up. So I'm glad you didn't give up, okay?
people. Definitely.
But
I
yeah,
think
I
we
mean,
have one more question.
thing
Hmm.
is that the society has so many demands for us and still expects us to be happy. And if you're going to give in to all of their requests and all of their expectations, you're not going to be happy.
Never. You're not gonna be happy. Exactly.
Exactly. So even if it's a little thing, even if it's not going to give you any money, as long as you do it to make you happy, it's worth it. It's worth it in the long run.
It's worth it in the long run, and as if you're happy about it, you'll also make time. Like I am juggling my job and
That,
this, and you're also juggling your job and you're writing.
yeah. We've turned circus people, so
Yeah, I just keep jumping like. Yeah.
yeah. Hey, I literally have my writing laptop here and my work laptop underneath it. So what I do is when I'm writing, I have my work laptop on the side and writing laptop. So the moment I get a break, I switch here and then back to meetings. So that's how it works for me.
Same here. The only difference is that on weekends I pack my work laptop and put it in a bag. I don't have to see it anymore.
I keep it
Like
under my drawers so that I don't forget where it is on Monday. But yeah.
okay. So we have one more question from Sandeep. Uh, what about your next book that you wish to write?
Okay, so I'm writing a crime thriller which has nothing to do with ghosts, surprisingly. It's called
Mm.
Blood Rock for now, but the name may change. So that's going on. It's a very slow burn book that is based in India, as opposed to how Dark Retributions was set in. Sorry, I'm losing my breath. And I've already finished writing the sequel for Dark Retributions, and I'm working on the third book. I'm letting the second book to rest, but I will still have to get it to an editor and then decide on how to publish it. But one thing is sure, though, I'm definitely not going to go with my current publisher. So
Ah, I mean, was it a bad experience?
very bad experience, trust me. It's taxing, because um, you're already balancing a 9 to 5 job, and when you give
Uh,
your manuscript to a publisher, they have one job to get your book out. They tell you, and the way they tell you how it is done, and to market your book. But with Dark Retributions, 99% of the marketing was done by me. And they did not release the Kindle book on time. And the Kindle version has the wrong draft. And they still have
oh,
about the author in my book yet. So, yeah.
that's upsetting.
Yeah, that's just 10% of what happened. So I'm not even going to go on a rant here because I pity these people. So
Fair enough. And I think Sandhi, what she's saying right now is I can echo with that. Best of luck. We're always there to support you.
oh,
I'm
thank
really
you.
excited to read those books.
Uh,
Awesome then. Uh, we've had a great time talking to you, Jemima.
thank you.
Love your book. It's wonderful. My review will be up in a few days, so everybody will be able to see that as well.
I'm excited to see it because I think I was looking forward to your review the most
Hmm.
because I think you're the first person that I actually approached with regards to book reviews.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first batch of people. So I was very nervous. I'm like, okay, I'm handing over my baby to someone. I don't know how it's gonna be. I don't know what it's gonna be. So yeah.
It was amazing. Like once I picked it up, I could not stop, reading it. Like for me, this is record time. I finished it in 3 days. I've not finished a book in 3 days before, except for Harry Potter fifth book.
The
But
fact
that's
that
a
you
different thing.
compared, I mean, you stated Harry Potter and my book in the same level has me like, I'm trying so hard not to fangirl right now, but okay.
No, it is a great book.
Thank you.
Like I don't know what to say. So far, after reading yours, I came across another book which had the same effect on me. I could not put it down.
Wow.
So like two books in 2021 that have, and this has not happened to me in the past few years. To be honest,
So
after
2021 is the year of authors, I guess.
I hope so. I'm loving the year so far. The stories that I've been reading.
That's great.
Awesome. With that note, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you.
joining us. Thanks a lot for your book, and we'll talk again.
Sure thing. Love and light.
See you. Bye.